The village huddled under the full moon's eerie glow. Shadows stretched from the trees, long and menacing. Everyone knew the stories. A beast roamed these woods, a werewolf. Whispers filled the tavern. Men spoke in hushed tones, their faces grim. Women clutched their children close. Fear hung heavy in the air. They spoke of the creature's glowing eyes, its blood-chilling howls. No one dared venture out at night. No one except Tomas. Tomas was different. He refused to be ruled by fear. He wanted to protect his village. He wanted to prove his courage. So, on the night of the full moon, Tomas decided to face the werewolf. Tomas stood at the edge of the woods. The night air was crisp and cold. His breath formed white puffs in the moonlight. He gripped his father's hunting knife, the cool metal a comfort in his hand. He felt a tremor of fear, but he pushed it down. He thought of the terrified faces in the village. He thought of his family, cowering in their home. That thought fueled his resolve. He wouldn't let fear paralyze him. He would be their protector. He would face the monster. With a deep breath, Tomas entered the woods. The forest seemed to close in around him. Towering trees blocked the moonlight, casting long, eerie shadows. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Tomas moved cautiously, his senses on high alert. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent shivers down his spine. He imagined glowing eyes watching him from the darkness. He imagined sharp claws and fangs. But he pressed on, deeper into the heart of the werewolf's domain. He had to find the creature. He had to end its reign of terror. The silence in the woods was unnerving. It wasn't a peaceful silence. It felt heavy, expectant, as if the forest itself were holding its breath. Tomas could hear his own heart pounding in his chest. He strained his ears for any sound, any sign of the creature. Then he heard it, a low growl, deep and guttural, echoed through the trees. It was close, too close. Tomas froze, his blood turning to ice in his veins. He gripped his knife tighter, his knuckles turning white. He was not alone. Section 5. Face to face with fear. The growl came again, closer this time. Tomas slowly turned, his eyes scanning the darkness. Then he saw it. Two glowing eyes, like embers in the night, stared back at him. A low growl rumbled in the creature's chest, sending shivers of terror down Tomas's spine. The werewolf stepped into a patch of moonlight. It was a hulking beast, far larger than any wolf Tomas had ever seen. Its fur was black as night, its eyes burned with a malevolent light, and its teeth were bared in a snarl, long and sharp as daggers. Tomas had never felt such pure terror. This was no ordinary animal. This was something monstrous. Section 6. A desperate dash for safety. The werewolf lunged. Tomas barely had time to react. He threw himself to the side, the creature's claws tearing through the air where he had been standing a moment before. He scrambled to his feet and ran, the werewolf's enraged roar echoing behind him. He dodged between trees, his heart pounding in his chest. He could hear the creature's heavy footsteps pounding behind him, gaining on him with every stride. He had to find shelter. He had to get away. His eyes darted around frantically, and then he saw it, a small, abandoned cabin nestled between two large trees. Tomas didn't hesitate. He veered towards the cabin, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He threw open the rickety door and slammed it shut behind him, the sound echoing in the stillness. He fumbled for a latch, any way to secure the door, but there was nothing. He spun around, his back pressed against the rough wood, his chest heaving. The cabin was small and dark, filled with cobwebs and dust. Moonlight filtered through cracks in the walls, casting eerie shadows. And then he saw them, strange symbols, etched into the wooden floorboards. They were ancient runes, symbols of protection he recognized from his grandmother's stories. Tomas could hear the werewolf outside, scratching and clawing at the door. The flimsy wood creaked under its assault. Tomas knew it wouldn't hold long. He was trapped, but a sliver of hope flickered within him. He moved to stand within the circle of runes, their strange energy thrumming around him. He wasn't sure if they held any real power, but it was the only chance he had. He gripped his knife, his heart pounding against his ribs. He would face the beast again. He wouldn't give up.